Members, and there may be as many as 50 or 60 people there that we would visit with and talk about how we are grateful for all the things that God has given us. But again, this year it'll be small gatherings. And for example, I'm going to be going over to my mother's and visit with my brothers, and I'm going to be making a dish for this holiday feast called copper pennies. And I am going to be showing you how I make this dish. In order to make the copper pennies, first thing you need to do is get together all your supplies and all of your ingredients. The supplies I'll need are 2 pans, 2 pots, such as this, a colander. I like to use my chopper on some of this, measuring cups and spoons, as well as something to put the copper pennies in once you finish cooking. The ingredients consist of carrots. I like to use frozen carrots, but you can use fresh carrots or even canned carrots. You need to use approximately 2 pounds of carrots. This is actually a little more than 2 pounds, and in order for you to know for certain how much that is, that's actually approximately 1 kilogram of carrots. You need one green pepper. You need 1 green pepper, and the recipe actually calls for 1 green pepper, but I like to add a red bell pepper to give it a little more color. 1 medium onion, 1 can of tomato soup, cooking oil, white vinegar, ground mustard, salt and pepper, and it calls for around a cup of sugar. But if you're like me, trying to watch your weight a little bit, I prefer to use a sugar substitute. This is the sugar substitute I prefer to use right now, and it measures out just like sugar. You'll be using a cup of sugar, which translates to 128 grams of sugar. So you need to use 128 grams of sugar or a sugar substitute. If you choose to use a sugar substitute, just measure out however much it would take to make it equal a cup of sugar. We begin by filling our pot with water. put this on the stove. Now, let me move this since this is plastic. We start the water to boiling. And we put our carrots in the water. Actually wanting to boil the carrots. We're not actually wanting to boil the carrots a great deal. We are just simply wanting to cook them long enough so that they are tender. While that's boiling, we'll start preparing the sauce that these carrots will go into. The sauce consists of the 1 can of tomato soup, we get it all in there. This can is 10.75 ounces or 305 grams. We add 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of salt. One-fourth teaspoon, or I would say approximately 2 grams of black pepper. These measurements don't have to be exact. Then we add 1/2 cup milliliters. What is in this container is the same as what I showed you earlier that was in the bag. So I need 1 cup of this. One cup or 128 grams. I need a teaspoon of ground mustard or 5 grams. I need 1 teaspoon or 5 grams of mustard. And then finally, 1 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, but I would consider that you could also use soy sauce. Now then we take this and By the way, there's a little trick. If you place a spoon when you're boiling water, it's not as apt to boil over. Now we need to turn this burner on, and we want to stir this in and bring this to a boil until it is stirred really, really good. And while I'm waiting for that to boil, we can prepare our peppers and our onion. Now the peppers and the onion can either be sliced into strips. What I like is to cut them into cubes. So that's why I use my chopper here to cut up my peppers and my onions. Now the red bell pepper, and now you can see how nicely those chopped up. We'll put those in the container that my carrots and the sauce will be going in. The onion. A little bit of green pepper was left over. And there are the chopped up onions. And then you can see what I've got chopped up here. And I see that our sauce has begun to boil. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to stir it some more. And all I'm really looking to do with this is just simply let it mixed together really, really good. In fact, I have made this where you don't even cook the sauce. Now then, I'm going to put the sauce into the pan with the onions and green peppers in preparation for the carrots. Turn my burner off. And then I'm going to stir this up a little bit. As you can see, the carrots have now begun to boil. We're not really looking to cook the carrots, but simply to soften them. So we won't actually leave them boiling here very long. In order to determine when they're ready, we take a fork, pick one out. We can catch one. Pick the fork in. We're not quite ready yet. The fork doesn't go in quite easily enough. Let them boil for a little while longer. As they're getting close, they're not quite ready yet. Let's check another one. Come here. We'll let them cook for just a few seconds longer, and then we'll pull them up. One more time. Make sure I'm right. These little critters boiling around there are hard to catch. I do believe they are ready. So let's turn off the stove, and we'll bring the pot over here to the sink. And we will then pour these carrots into a colander. Some of the carrots want to stay with the pot. So we got some more here that want to stay with the pot. There we go. Now, get them well drained. And I'm going to bring my sauce, onions, and peppers over here. And now that the carrots are well drained, we pour them into the sauce and the peppers. And got more carrots wanting to stay with the colander. Over on the top. Now you mix these up, sauce and the peppers. You get the carrots covered very good. Before you start serving them, you'll want to give this another stir. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is copper pennies. Goodbye. I hope you enjoyed it.